All right. Greetings. Welcome back to Black Bear News, where everything is connected. How y'all doing? And welcome. Good to see you all. Yes, Gene, I'm going to torture you with Joyanne Reed. Sorry about the meanness. Yeah, our electricity has been holding steady, so that's good. I've been hearing people complaining about the low level of sound. And I don't know. Some people are like the sound is fine, and other people are like the sound is really low. I'm not really sure. I'm sorry if the sound is low. Maybe I'll try and just keep it a little bit hotter. I don't want to blast people out. But anyways, we're live on YouTube, Rockfin, and on Callin. I got a couple of tips yesterday, after hours tips on Rockfin. Steph C gave me a tip, said thanks, Kevin. By all. And Tim Gunlock or Gunlatch, I don't know how to pronounce it, gave me a tip as well. Sorry. Thank you, guys. My sound is good now. G. Demarest's sound is low. So weird. Okay. I don't know. I'll bump it up just a little bit more. I'll bump it up just a little bit more. Okay. But I can't bump it too much. Welcome, Rockfinners. What do Joyanne Reed and Democracy Now!'s Amy Goodman have in common? This is from Denver Attaway. Answer, they both attended Harvard. Okay. I didn't know that. I didn't know where either of them had attended school. So, yes, one time Amy Goodman did good coverage. One time. It was a long time ago, I think. I've been hearing, I don't really listen to NPR or Democracy Now! Anymore, but I hear second-hand accounts of what they're reporting on NPR, and I'm like, okay. Anyways, here's a rundown of some of the things we're going to talk about today. Headlines. As countries convene at climate summit in Egypt, reports show the world is widely off track. Wildly. Or widely, whatever you like. Here's what to watch at COP27. Also talking about all European regions will warm by over 2 degrees Celsius regardless of greenhouse gas emissions reductions. Interesting one from Poppy. The metals for your EV are stuck in a 30-mile traffic jam. We'll check that out. Peter Dines asked the question, the planet isn't dying, it is being killed, and the people doing the killing have names and addresses. At what point, if there is ever such a point, is it ethically justifiable to go beyond nonviolent direct action? There's a philosophical question for you. Stacey Abrams is blaming her low polling numbers on the fact that black men have been targeted by misinformation. So the misinformation machine is all cranked up. Somebody's doing the misinforming. Somebody, I don't know who it is. You know, the misinformation people. And they've been targeting black men. And that's why Stacey Abrams is losing. And then Joy Reid says no one used the word inflation until Republicans taught them what it means to damage Democrats. What? Okay. Okay. I guess we'll go back to that. Within hours of the brutal attack last month on Paul Pelosi, Republican activists and media figures began circulating groundless claims. Nearly all of them sinister, dung, 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 and many homophobic about what had happened. What had happened was Joe Biden this states he fell off a stage. He did not fall off a stage. He almost tripped onto a stage. But anyways, we'll check that out. Whitney Webb did an interview with Glenn Beck. Did anybody watch that? It was really cool. Interview, how elites will create a new class of slaves. And then lastly, Richard Rowe, a 41-year-old former Florida congressional candidate who was very mean to anti-vaxxers, died suddenly after a second Pfizer mRNA injection. There may be no connection whatsoever. Probably no connection. All right, so let's get into it, and we'll go on down the line a little bit. I mean, some of these only really require the headlines. I don't know if they require much more filling out, because sometimes the headline says it all. Sometimes you need a little more context. I don't know. Anyways, they're meeting, COP27 is going on, sponsored by Coca-Cola. And there's a bunch of mucky mucks going there to discuss how bad everything is and how close we are to total disaster we are. And yeah. Anyways, the UN and the WMO, the World Meteorological Association, show carbon and methane emissions hit record levels in 2021. And oh my God, we got to do something about it. But we're actually going in the wrong direction. And you got to wonder, after how many years of has the Conference of Parties been going on? 30 years? 30 years or so? And we're still are going in the wrong direction. Anyways, developing and developed countries have for years tussled over the concept of loss and damage fund, the idea which suggests countries causing the most harm with their outrageous planet warming emissions should pay poor countries which have suffered from the resulting climate disasters. I don't know. I mean, I guess on some levels it sounds kind of fair. It sounds like tax the rich, I guess. It also sounds like a carbon credit scheme. Like, we'll pay you so much money for the damage we're doing, but we're still going to, cheers, we'll keep on doing the damage. Actually, the whole design of what we've been doing is to get you guys to do the amount of damage we've been doing, right? That's been the whole concept of expanding, our way of living, our standard of living, right? Everything for everybody. We want that to go all over the world, but we know on some levels, now we've reached a point where a lot of people understand that is, certain doom. But do we want to pay up? I mean, I think it's a fair question. I don't know. Gene says they serve meat at COP27. Well, there's that. They've done more harm than good, putting farmers out of business in order to reach a emissions goal. And Obsolete Optics says scientists are mystified, baffled, puzzled, stumped, curious, perplexed, alarmed, shocked, appalled, confused, stunned, horrified, clueless, worried, terrified, frustrated, scared, concerned, bewildered, head scratching. They're all those things, right? They are all of those things. Anyways, yeah. So it's just a bunch of, it's a bunch of people getting together talking about how One more time. We really got to do something because it's really getting late. Oh my God. This is like the alcoholic at 3 or 4 in the morning. Man, I got to get to work in the morning. I really got to get out of here. It's like, buddy, I've been there, by the way, but buddy, it was too late about 5 hours ago. Anyways. TCR Galaxy says petroleum-based parasitic plague phase has been breached. WASF locked in. All right, let's keep going. It's raining here, and my kid is having a good time in the rain. She loves the rain. It's a good time to go outside and stomp around and get wet and muddy. I'm all for it. All right. We actually already had a bike ride in the rain. It was quite nice. Okay, Europe is going to get to 2 degrees Celsius, more quicker than other places. And I've heard people who don't really understand climate science go, "What do they mean by that? That sounds ridiculous. That is so dumb." Sometimes it's good to actually, get a handle on the details of things so that you can speak competently about them. Some people say the devil is in the details, and other people say God is in the details. I guess I would prefer the latter. Anyways, Europe is warming twice as fast as the rest of the world. And guess what? The Arctic is warming like 3 times as fast. So there are some places that are actually warming more quickly than other places. But guess what? They're all warming. So whether it's quickly or slowly, we're all going in the same direction. And regardless of greenhouse gas emissions, they're not going to make it to well below 2C. Well below. I don't actually see the words well below anymore in a lot of climate articles. They've kind of given up that language of well below. They're like, not only we're not going to be well below, we're not even going to we're trying to stay from going well above. Anyways, it's a report. And it says bad things are going to happen, basically. How's that for scientific? Average temperatures in Europe were rising at a rate of 0.5 degrees Celsius per decade over the studied period, reaching an overall average of 2.2 degrees above pre-industrial levels. That is way above. I just said the words way above. Or well above the 1.5 degree limit set by the international climatology community with the goal of minimizing devastating environmental effects of climate change, as in well below. But nope, we're not well below, we're way above. According to estimates, the summer of 2022 was the driest in 500 years, with widespread water shortage and wildfires affecting even those nations that are usually accustomed to wetter summers. Yeah, it's not good. I can tell you. Sorry, I'm getting some buzz in the line. Sorry about that. The Arctic is warming 3 times faster than the global average rate. Why is this happening? Well, if you understood climate science, you'd understand that different parts of the planet are heating up at different speeds. because the climate of said given area is, that much more out of balance, with what it usually is. And there are other reasons, but if you thought going north was going to be the escape from climate change, well, the Arctic is warming 3 times faster than the rest of the planet. So I did a Vincent Price imitation. What you know about Vincent Price? Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, unfortunately, the more north you go, the more out of whack your weather patterns are. Partly due to the jet stream being completely shredded. What once was a workable jet stream is no longer really there. And you have, amplified warming in the Arctic due to, a whole bunch of factors: loss of albedo, and polar vortex situations where all the cold air is forced out by pockets of warm air, and for various reasons they create a situation where the Arctic is warming at a much faster rate. And so on some levels there's nowhere to go. Kameshwari Kate says if the Arctic warms 3 times faster than projected, then capitalist cartels can harvest the reserves of oil 3 times faster. Win-win. Indeed. Scott Andrews says still no frost in Missouri, almost 1 month behind schedule. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, anyways, the old logic about people are going to move north, to escape the climate change. I mean, they will, and they already have, and they're already going in that route. But it's actually the north that's way farther, off the normal range of expected temperatures, right? Than other places. We see that in the Pacific Northwest and British Columbia, etc. Right? Places getting up, Siberia. Let's take a call from Fantomas. What's up, Fantomas?
Good afternoon.
How you doing?
So, I've been listening to something else. I've been listening to the whole Kyrie thing with making the statements to regarding that film, of the anti-Semitic noise that a lot of people. What's that?
Oh, I'm sorry. You just completely went in a left turn to Albuquerque there, but I don't even. I don't even know if I know what film you're talking about. But anyways.
So there's a continuation of the whole Kanye story where now they're going after Kyrie Irving, the basketball player.
I do know that's happening. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I found interesting was someone brought this up, and I thought it was a really valid point, which was this rapper named Mano said, "This is all great and all. This is all great that you're going after Kyrie Irving." He goes, "But you have said zero about the responsibility of Amazon."
Oh, right.
And it's a discussion worth having. So like, why is it still up? If this movie is such a damn issue,
right?
Why is this movie still up? Why don't you get rid of it? Why don't you erase it from your store? If it's so hateful, why not?
Right.
And it seems like it's above a pay grade because it's still there as we're talking. How many days?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I haven't seen it, so I can't comment on it. But my main
I
point is,
I don't even know the movie that you're talking about, but I guess I don't even know the movie you're talking about. I have to like, so it's a little hard for
it's
me
the
to jump
movie
into a
that,
conversation about this. But it's almost like it's kind of like, well, I'll liken it to Alex Jones being held liable for saying something about the place, right?
yeah.
But no, he didn't actually. He wasn't the one that went there and did the thing, right? So he wasn't the actual like committer of the crime. He just had an opinion about the crime, and you could, I don't, whatever, you agree or disagree, but it's like, okay, and so yeah, that I mean, it's kind of like one, right, where did he see such said film, and why is said film up there? But anyways, I have to get a little more versed on what is even going on with that, because I'm kind of watching this thing a little bit from peripheral, but I'm also kind of like, oh, I mean, that's very interesting, but it's just not like the focus of my attention.
Yeah, I get you. My focus on it is the fact that it seems to constantly be the bait and switch that we're experiencing over and over and over again.
Right.
And what I mean is there's no responsibility for the corporations, but there's a responsibility for a fucking basketball player who plays,
Yeah. Right.
And it's ridiculous, because you're thinking like, okay, he apologized. Now what do you want from him? Okay, you suspended him. Now what do you want from him? I don't get it. That's my main point. It's like, you're suspending people, you're taking them out of business, but at the same time, this movie that you had a problem with him tweeting about, that was allegedly anti-Semitic, it's still in the Amazon platforms.
Or you can even go to Kyle Kaepernick. I mean, there's a lot of people have opinions about Kyle Kaepernick or whatever, but he was punished for drawing attention to something, right? That wasn't really addressed. The thing he was drawing attention to was like, well, there's this issue, and kind of everybody knows it's an issue, right? But was that issue ever dealt with? Or did anybody ever actually go, well, like, let's look into this? But no, he was just punished for, making a statement about it. Again, it's like, okay, we're going to punish people that have the views on the things, but we're not going to punish we're not going to actually deal with the thing that they have, the thing that's actually the atrocity or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So,
well, to go further down the road of like the craziness that we are in, in the elections in Israel, Netanyahu decided to partner up with this ally group, this far right wing group called Jewish Power. That's their name in the political
Jewish
party.
Power.
Jewish Power. Yes.
Good, yeah.
But what's even crazier is one of the leaders of Jewish Power. There's video of him taking out a gun and pointing it to a Palestinian and getting into a heated confrontation because it's this Jewish nationalism that's being fired up over and over. But what's amazing to me, not Jewish nationalism, Zionist nationalism, where it's so, to me, the whole principle of what Zionism and everything that's taught in Zionist is really, at the face of it, anti-Jewish. Because it's not about loving people.
Right.
It's about pointing to another person who's on the other side of the fence, who doesn't fit your cultural profile, and saying, you're the enemy. That's what that is.
Right. Well, yes. And you know what? I really, I don't want to go any farther with this conversation because I'm on YouTube. So
yeah, I know.
I appreciate the conversation, but there's something more. Yeah, I could actually maybe go down the road with a little more on if we're not on YouTube. But
I hear you. I hear you.
But thank you for bringing that up. But no, these are all. It's actually what's happening with the whole discussion with Kyrie and
my
Kanye
main point
and all that stuff. It's all actually relevant to the freedom of expression, free thought, free speech. That whole thing, that whole ball, that elephant in the room that everybody's really trying to wrestle with, and all these things are very, from different angles. There are, it's very interesting. It's an interesting discussion. I think the discussion is an important one. I haven't made it a focus of my show just because I don't know. I have so little time, and I don't want to just not do it justice, right? So
I hear you. My main point in bringing this is there's no issue of critical thought, and we can't have a critical thinking discussion on so many different angles of anything. And this goes back to the same problems that we have with the environment.
Right.
It's all
Well,
related.
it is
It's
all.
all integrated in
You're
that way.
actually, and to go one step further, 10 minutes before the show, I was thinking in my mind, all the, nice liberal climate change aware, professors and activists and all those people that want the bad people silenced on social media, or wouldn't mind if they went away, right? Like, because I see people kind of alluding to that. Like they're not coming out and saying it, but they're kind of like, well, I don't really, I am a good, liberal lefty Democrat, whatever paint me blue and whatever. Right. So I don't like these bad people out here thinking the bad things and saying the bad things. And I'm like, well, you, Mr. Climate Aware Doomer, right? You're being painted with the same brush by Michael Mann and quite a few other people, right? And you saw what happened to Michael Moore when Planet of the Humans came out, right? So if you don't actually carry the establishment narrative thought on climate change and what we can or should or can't do about it, you actually could be put in the same box with those people that you might not care if they get silenced, right? Or would rather go away, right? Like you will be in that same box with those people. So be very careful what you wish on others or what oh, we have to, we can't let people out there thinking all the thoughts and stuff. These are bad people, right? Like, so, yeah, that's a slippery slope. Anyways, but thank you, Fantomas, for the call. I appreciate it.
All right. I'll talk to you later. Peace.
Well, on that, let's quickly check the coffees out. Apparently, I can get a QR code, which I don't know if I care about the QR code, but apparently I could put a QR code in the screen. And if you just hold your phone up to the screen, you can get taken to my Buy Me a Coffee page. And I don't know if that's something that even anybody cares about. But I don't have any coffees yet today. I'm going to check on the Rockfin tips. And I don't have any as of yet. I'm doing my best Dr. Campbell impression. I don't know if that's good or bad. I think I'm doing a terrible job. Anyways, no Rockfin tips yet, but we'll check in later. Denver Attaway says 80 degrees Fahrenheit today in Chattanooga, Tennessee. 80 degrees. Yeah. Break out the barbecue, bro. Crack a Frosty. You know what I'm saying? That's toasty. Okay, let's keep going. I'm gonna try and kind of skate through these last ones fairly quickly. I do want to cover a couple stories. Like I really want to cover. I want to get to the next couple ones for sure. Anyways, this is from Poppy. The metals for your EV are stuck in a 30-mile traffic jam, so that's good for the environment. A slow and bumpy journey on the trail of Africa's copper. I'm not going to read all of this, but we're skimming through it. In order to get a truckload of copper out of Africa and into the hands of tech-hungry buyers, Chanda Kulungika must spend a week sitting in one of the world's longest traffic jams. Young men weave through the 30-mile, about 50 kilometers queue, pushing crudely built bicycles stacked with soft drinks, snacks, and charcoal. At night, Kulungika sleeps in the cabin of his truck with one eye open, periodically flashing his hazard light to check for lurking thieves who might steal his fuel or the valuable minerals he's transporting. The scene on the border between the Democratic Republic of Congo and Zambia, where the sound of idling diesel engines and the sour odor of sulfur fill the air, seems an unlikely front line for the battle against climate change. Yet, it is as important as any wind farm or electric vehicle plant. Because while everyone from the International Monetary Fund to Elon Musk is warning that shortages of metals like copper could hinder the energy transition, production here is actually booming. The region supplies 2/3 of the world's cobalt and it accounts for more than 80% of the global copper output growth over the past 3 years. But Africa's metals are no good to anyone if they can't get out. The 1,900-mile journey from mines in Congo and Zambia to the ports is so riddled with bottlenecks and jams that it can take more than a month. A recent journey along the route to the coast shows how, a century after commercial mining began here, the world's hunger for copper is again reshaping the region. It also highlights the difficulties in electrifying the world. The big difficulties, even here, one of the few places where production is growing, the logistical challenges could throttle the flow of copper and cobalt to the global market. Wow, would you look at that? Or if you can see that. Oh my God, I'm sorry you can't see that. This is a picture of the trucks waiting to get cobalt out. Tim says, John Campbell says, Studi in Munz. Okay. Yeah, I didn't quite have it totally correct there. I was just going for it. Well, and this actually points to the kind of the inherent problems with trying to have a green energy revolution. Is, the issue is that it's going to take a whole lot of diesel powered trucks and mining equipment and boats and airplanes and factories and trucks and boats and airplanes and factories and mining equipment to actually make these things. So while you're busy making all these things that are going to green up the world and green up the land, you're going to pollute up the land and pollute up the world. And so there's kind of a issue there. Yeah. But it's a wild story. I don't have time to actually read the whole story, and there's, obviously there are, the conditions in which people are mining these minerals and delivering these minerals, and the people that control these mines. And I mean, there are a lot of very thorny issues with the sourcing of these minerals, right? And who's zooming who to control these, these minerals, right? Okay. But there you go. There's just a big traffic jam of diesel-powered cars and trucks getting your minerals out for your EVs. So, feel good about that one. We're going to move on. No, that's not it. I don't know if I'm going to. We're gonna pass up Peter Dines. I shouted him out in the beginning, and you guys can think about that question if you like. Maybe we'll bring it out for another day. It's it's a question for another day. Maybe, I don't know, or for the end of the show. Stacey Abrams. I mean, this is the issue. I think. I mean, honestly, the left has gone loony. I've been a lifelong leftist and a lifelong Democrat, and I just can't. I can't deal with the the extreme gaslighting that's going on with the loony left. And they just say, this is just another in a long line of high-level gaslighting that's going on. But Stacey Abrams is explaining her poll numbers and says, unfortunately, this year, black men have been a very targeted population for misinformation. Not misinformation about what they want, but about why they want what they deserve. I'm a little confused by that. I'm very confused by that, actually. But I mean, just blaming everybody for why she's not doing well, instead of maybe taking stock of what it is that she's doing herself or representing herself, or I don't know. Right? But you got to get out there and you got to, blame a whole segment of the population that, you supposedly represent and say, well, these people are full of misinformation. Or maybe they just think for themselves, or maybe they have minds of their own, and maybe how they think is not how you think, and right, et cetera, et cetera. No, no group of people or a spectrum of ideological spectrum. No one is a monolith, and there's no monoliths out there. There's no like all these people think like this, and all these people are over here. I mean, everything is. It's all mixed up, and there's I talked about it the other day with I think Kevin Shanholzer, who called in, and we're talking about the issue with voting is very difficult right now, because I'm actually looking at what I'm voting on this year, trying to without throwing the thing in the garbage and going forget it, but and I'm like, I don't know. Some of the Republicans are saying things that I actually agree with, but then they're also saying things that I completely disagree with. And then the Democrats, it's the same thing. And so I'm like, but guess what? There's a whole lot of people out there that are having feelings and thoughts about things that are, that are different from how you think that they should think. So let's maybe honor the agency of people, of all people, and their ability to think whatever it is they want to think and vote for whoever it is they want to vote for, and maybe not blame them for your bad politicking. I don't know. Just a thought. It's just a thought. And then here's another, and then the pièce de résistance is Joy Reid saying that I don't even know. I don't even know. I mean, this is just, I don't even know what to say about this. Joy Reid says no one used the word inflation until Republicans taught them what it means. And when was that, Joy Reid? Was that in 1913, or was that in 1946, or was that 1963? Was it, when did Republicans teach Democrats or teach people what the word inflation means in order to get at them Democrats, right? I mean, both of these stories involve actually some very debasing, ideas around, how smart people are, how well people can think for themselves, right? Black men are full of misinformation. They've been targets of misinformation, so whatever they're thinking is not their own thoughts. So they're just robots repeating things that somebody else told them, right? And that, which is super, horrible thing to say. And Joy Reid is saying that people are so stupid, I guess Republicans are so stupid that they don't even know what the word inflation means, or had never heard it before. Inflation? What's that? I inflate my tires at least a couple months, in the year. But inflation, what do you mean inflation? Like, that's how she thinks it's. Anyways. Holy shnikes. But I think a lot of people were very confused by this. It's interesting the Republicans are doing something they don't normally do, right? Which is not use the common tongue. The common tongue, because we're going down in the immersion square. The common tongue. How insulting can you possibly be? This is, that's, I guess the word I was looking for was insulting. Both these women are so out of touch, or so just completely, devoid of any connection to, to whatever, to reality, that they, don't see a problem with how insulting they're being. The common tongue. To not just use, because nobody ever says the word inflation when they're speaking common English. When they're going down to the Arby's and getting them, a meat sandwich. They're a little more expensive this year. I don't know. What do you call that? More expensiveness? I heard it was called this word. It was inflation. God dang it. This is so ridiculous. All right. Have a cup of clown juice. Drink it slow. And then, they're doing the same thing with the Paul Pelosi thing. Like everybody can't see through the story or it's only the right wingers who are saying that they, groundless claims and nearly all of them sinister and homophobic. Oh my God, like blah, blah, blah. Like nobody else has questions about the story. Nobody else is going, are you sure? It's only the Republicans. It's only GOP. So, but they're doing their best with this to try to get people to think, well, if you don't believe that it was a crazy conspiracy QAnoner that what broke into Nancy Pelosi's house, just, all out of the blue. Did somebody hear breaking glass? Oh, let me go check it out. Yeah. I mean, if you don't believe that, then you're a super, super crazed. Yeah, I don't know. Because of course, it's possible for somebody to break into Nancy Pelosi's house. It is. It's totally possible. All right. I don't know. Do I need to show Joe Biden almost falling off a stage? It was interesting though because sure, sure I do.
We put a cap of $2,000 a year on prescription drugs for seniors, no matter what their cost. 2, 10, 12, 15. Whoops, stepping on them. It's black.
Anyway, that's all you need to see, but he almost trips on something. But I learned something about dementia patients in that thread where they're showing that he claimed he fell off the stage. He did not fall off the stage. He like kind of like fumbled his footing there. But what people were saying was probably they had black mats on the stage. Apparently, people suffering from dementia, you can control where they will go in a room by putting down particular colors of mats or, patterns because they don't see it the way, normal people see it. So they see a black mat as a hole in the ground and they won't go over there. So that's how, and I didn't know that. I learned something new. If that's actually what it was, it could just be like there was a, planter. It could have just been a plant on the stage, and but he said it was black. I don't know what he was talking about, but anyways, he looked like he almost toppled over. Poor Joe Biden. Poor man. There was a good, Whitney Webb, fairly cool interview with Glenn Beck, who's, a rather large media voice, on one side of the aisle. And I don't really care what anybody's feelings are about Glenn Beck. I'm just showing she had this interview with Glenn Beck. And I don't even think, maybe I was going to play one section of it. Hold on. It's about an hour and a half. Sorry. Oh, it's raining. I was like, what's that noise? anyways, an interesting thing that she said in this video was that we should all take a lesson from the Amish. Glenn Beck asked her, like, how do we, what do we do? How do we get outside of the system? How do we get outside of the control mechanism of, what the WEF wants for people? And she said, we should all take a lesson from the Amish, meaning, living on the land, making your own things, making your own stuff, maybe eschewing the, all the technological gadgets, right? Getting off the grid, as it were. Anyways, it was a good interview. I just, was there a part that I can't remember where it was.
Took my money as I can and things that will keep me and my family so.
Oh, I think this is what she's saying here.
Because I'm not particularly well versed in it, I don't like to tell people how to spend their money. It's a very individual decision.
Do you think it can survive?
I think the central banks, the bankers, and the government will do everything they can to prevent a currency that threatens their power from actually being able to be used. And I think we're already seeing major efforts to make that the case. They can make it illegal to, turn it into something else, illegal to use as tender. They're looking at a lot of different options.
She's talking about cryptocurrency. Oh, I think I might have lost the place where I wanted to play what I wanted to play. So maybe I won't play any of this, but I just wanted to talk about it. It's a good interview. Check, but I wanted to point out, she also said I won't say one way or the other what I think about climate change. So she didn't step into that discussion, which I appreciated that she did not. But she said all of the answers that they're giving us, all the answers that they're putting forth are not the real answers, right? They're actually going to do the opposite of helping. And we've talked at length over the last weeks and months about that, right? The answers being put forth are not going to help. Probably going to hurt. All right, guys, I'm pretty much done here. I think that's about it. I'm going to check the coffees up. Check them up. No coffees as of yet today, and no Rockfin tips as of yet today. You can also hit me up at the Cash App that's on the screen. Is also a good way to support the show. Interglacial Optimist says, we can shut down all corporate farms and give 10 acres to every family. Like stuff like that would be really simple, logical, wise, right? Like, hey, everybody, we got to do something about this climate change. So what we suggest is that everybody get busy growing their own food, because we're going to wind down the whole factory, food distribution thing, because it's really bad for the planet. And, we're going to, and also, suggest to people that they not rely on supermarkets and supply chains so much for their food, because we're going to kind of wind that kind of down. And then, get busy growing your food, and we're going to help you. We're going to help you do that. That would be, one way that it could be verbalized, right, to people, and make people feel at peace and at ease, not like, well, we're going to tax your farm out of existence if you don't comply with these emissions laws, right? Or we're going to buy your farm, take it from you, and give it to Bill Gates, and see what he does with it. Whatever. All right. I'm just looking through these comments a little bit here. Brenda on Rockfin says yes about the mats for dementia patients. A lot of times they have to paint toilet seats green or red because they can't differentiate the toilet from the seat, and that causes them not to see it as a toilet. Huh. Okay. And people with Alzheimer's will not go out the door of the house if there is a black rug in front of the door. So it keeps them from wanting to leave the house. Yeah, that's the part I read, and I was like, I never knew that. That's interesting. So do they have black mats like on the stage around Joe Biden? Keeping him from going over the edge? Maybe. Maybe. Let's see. Just checking out some comments. All right, guys. I think that is going to do it for me. Thank you so much for your eyes, your ears, and your conscience. I will see you tomorrow at the regular time of 12 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Thank you for hanging out with me every single day. And until next time, peace.